girl. Hi.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. Right? That's how I feel.
Oh, dear listeners, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Yep, all of you, all of you, for the last will and testament of Miles from
We
Gold.
don't get there yet. Don't surprise the listeners with what we're getting ready to talk about.
I mean,
I'm surprised, but you don't have to surprise them.
I mean,
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Oh, God, girl. So what's new in your little world today?
Well, it's a beautiful Sunday here in South Florida.
Ooh.
It rained a bit last night, so it's starting to get that little bit of humidity. This is that part of the year that I like to call spummer, because we are basically it's springtime, but rapidly accelerating into summer. Before I know for you guys it's more subtle, but for us, we don't. We have a good couple of weeks.
The pollinating is getting ready to happen here.
Oh, the pollinating.
The pollinating. Dear listeners,
I don't miss it.
If you've never been to North Carolina in March to April, all of the pine trees release their pollen and everything turns yellow. Everything, like every surface is yellow. These trees have so much sex for a month and a half that it is just pollen everywhere. Luckily, that pollen isn't one that really causes allergies. It's the other tree pollens that are smaller. But
it all causes me allergies. I mean,
it can cause you physical allergies, but usually it's too hard. It's too big of particles to actually get up in your nasal cavity.
Yeah.
Girl, I have a very important question for you.
I like questions.
Have you watched Encanto yet?
I still haven't watched it. I still haven't watched it yet. I feel terrible that I haven't watched it yet.
Why do you feel terrible?
Because everybody keeps telling me that it's good. And
do you know how many times I've seen it now?
How many?
I'm going on 4, I think now.
4 times?
Yeah. It's whenever you feel bad, you just throw it on and you feel better afterward.
Okay.
And with the way the world is right now,
I know, but I don't know. I have very specific feel good things that I watch, right? Like when I'm feeling like that. So for me, I just watch Chef in my fridge. That's usually my feel good thing. So, but maybe I'll give Encanto a try.
Just give it a try. So we're also watching some new anime. Well, one's new, 2 are new, 1 is old, but they're new to me.
Okay, what are they?
Well, first of all, the new one to me is Yuri on Ice. I have not yet watched that.
Oh my god!
Have you watched Yuri on Ice? Okay, hush you. I'm not very far so far. I love
it. It's okay, without giving anything away for you, right? It's so good that it has basically kickstarted an entirely new genre of anime.
Oh, I know.
Because there's a gymnastics one now. That's
there's a volleyball one. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you.
The other one we're watching is Ranking of Kings.
Ranking of Kings.
It's based on a 80s. What are their comics called?
Manga,
thank you. A 1980s manga. It's even animated kind of like that. It's about a little kid prince who has absolutely no strength whatsoever.
Oh.
And he's trying to save his kingdom.
Oh.
It's fantastic. We're watching it dubbed because that's just how it started, so we saved it dubbed instead of subbed. Right. They have all of season 1 subs out on both Crunchyroll and Funimation, but the dub is only to episode 14.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm not against dubs. I know that there are some diehard people out
Yeah.
there, and yes, I will be the first person to say they are not incorrect. The dubs and the subs are not exactly the
Hmm.
same. It is absolutely true. However, they are not so drastically different that it's really that pressing.
Oh, I
Y'all.
can't watch Full Metal Alchemist except for with the dub. Like the voices are too good to me. Like they work so
That's
well.
the thing is that some of the anime dubs are
Hmm.
amazing because of
Yeah.
the voices. Like I've watched, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Hunter x Hunter or something like that. And like I can't get through the
Yeah.
non-dub one because the voices are shrill.
Yeah. So,
And I mean it's mostly like, I mean it's fine. It's mostly women doing those because they're kids, but I was like, I can't, this is not gonna work for
I
me.
felt the same way about Kill Kill. Like when you hear her voice is a little too high for me, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
third one we're watching is Jujutsu Kaisen. We aren't very
Yes.
far in.
Okay.
Like, so just let you know, but we are watching it right now.
So good.
It is so good, and I would sleep with so many of the
I
students.
know. I know. I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. I
It's
know.
very weird and very very gory and wonderfully animated.
I love it so
I do too.
much.
I do too. I do too.
Oh,
Did
oh,
you watch
oh, oh.
Dora?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great
Yeah.
anime.
That's like the one. That's like the almost any anime at this point. 9 times out of 10, it's
Yeah.
probably gonna be yes. I've watched it because
Okay then.
as soon as the show, as soon as like Netflix or whatever pops up in my like an email and they're like, we got a new show for you. I'm like, great, thank you.
So you've watched Gurren Lagann. You've watched. Okay.
Yeah, they like the all of the apps at this point, like they know me
Okay.
so well that it's not even like a question of if, it's literally when I get home after checking this in my email, I
Yeah.
know what I'll be starting.
I just watched Evangelion for the first time like several months ago.
So I liked it,
Hmm.
but for me, it's there's so many versions and iterations and recuts and everything else that I was like, now this, I'll give you this as like a little bit of a backstory. So my husband,
Yes.
for those that don't know, he's a therapist, and one of his clients is obsessed. When I say obsessed, I mean legitimately obsessed with that series.
Okay.
And so we had to watch it because the client wouldn't stop talking about it. And so then after we got through the first one, that's when they told us, well, that's when they told him like, oh, well, there's two other versions.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, so if you know me, I was like, wait, what? Because they're not short.
Yeah.
Like those things are long, they're like hour and a half long. So I was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Well, apparently they recut the entire thing and changed it into this format. And so we did the second time around.
Yeah.
And then by the third time around, I was like, you're on your own. I can't redo this a third
So
time.
so you know why they did that, right?
I don't remember. I knew at the time because,
So
like I
it's
said,
kind of funny. The animator, he gave they ran out of money toward the end of the series, right?
okay,
That's why it gets really choppy and really weird toward the end of the series. And
okay,
like the last episode is so fucking weird. Like it is so fucking weird and so minimalistically animated. Okay.
yes,
But that he gave them the ending that he wanted to give them.
yes,
People hated that ending. And so he was like, fuck you. Here's the ending you want, and I'm going to make it worse. So that's why the second one came about, is because he made the ending they kind of wanted. But like, there's some real graphic stuff about like him, Shinji with the, oh God, I forgot what the girl, like basically ejaculating on her breasts at one point.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of breast ejaculation, did you know that we have a Patreon?
Wow.
Well, I felt like our dear listeners were tired of hearing us prattle on about anime.
Wow.
So I thought that'd be a good enough segue.
That guy.
Dear listeners, if you want to throw us some money, please find us at patreon.com/Mims and Maim.
I was already speechless that we'd even gotten to that point. And then, yeah.
What? That we were that far in this episode that we do that, or that?
Oh no, just that we're that far in this episode, and we were talking about what we were talking about, and we were kind of going down into like a really weird hole. And yeah, so
I had to stop it so we could go divert.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. I'm totally glad you did.
Maim, speaking of diverting, did you know we have 2 other podcasts?
You are lying now.
I am not. We have Mims and Maim Baking Sugar, our Designing Women podcast, and Mims and Maim, You Slay Me, our Murder, She Wrote podcast. Search for Mims and Maim wherever you get your podcasties.
Yes, I love it. I love the fact that people are literally listening to us be stupid. It's my favorite thing.
Over multiple different genre. Well, I mean, I guess it's all the same genre and format. It's just different shows.
It's television.
One we really like. One we really like. One
that you're listening
we're doing
to
right now. Well, Maim, are you ready to get in this one? This one? Miles ain't going to leave on his own.
Yeah, no, the people, Miles, oh boy.
This is season 1, episode 3. Miles, we hardly knew ya.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a
So, thank you for being a friend. It's changed again, I swear. It's gotten a beat now to it, rather than just be, oh, thank you for being a friend.
Yeah, no, they did have a little beat to it, so you were not incorrect.
So we're still changing the theme song, y'all. We there's not even consistency there yet.
Your heart is true.
You're a pal and a confidant.
Boom, boom, boom. But now we're at the Golden Palace, because where else are we going to be, y'all?
That's right. Where else are we going to be?
And Miles is canceling his date with Rose.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, he's got to work late. Work.
Oh.
Work. How old is he? Work.
I mean, he's in his retirement years.
Yeah, work.
So yeah.
Anyway, she was very upset because she shaved below the knee.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she thought she was getting some nookie.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Miles has not yet been to the hotel. He hasn't seen any of this.
Okay.
It's very important to Rose. And she's like, I really want him here. I really want to see what I'm doing. I'm very excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she hasn't played cards recently.
Is that a euphemism for sex?
No, Roland, it's not a euphemism for sex.
Oh, Roland's here.
Yeah, he says that, and they say that. And he says something that he doesn't usually like to play cards. He likes to play solitaire. Jokes.
Jeez.
Enter Olivier.
Oh, hi. How's it going?
He needs money, that little rascal.
For what, Oliver?
He already spent his $5 allowance.
Oh.
I wonder what allowances are these days. Because $5 seemed about right back then, right?
Don't they just give kids like debit cards now?
They probably do. Yeah, here's your debit card.
Like literally.
God. Well, we find out that everybody's encouraging him to be, make some money on his own. And Rose and her sister, we find out, had a kissing booth when they were younger.
Oh, that's nice.
They kissed each other.
Oh,
and it was
that's a little-
mostly old men in trench coats who went to see it.
That's a little weird. It's kind of like there's a lot of weirdness to this joke. A lot of weirdness.
Yeah,
a lot of weirdness.
So Rose goes off, and Roland gives Blanche the guest registers. Apparently, she's doing some kind of audit or something, but she's looking for something. And there's a joke. There's a joke there. She said, "Well, look at this. Look at who that is." And he's like, "Jimmy Swaggart? No, this one, Jimmy Swaggart."
Yeah,
girl, we were just talking about Jimmy Swaggart being caught in that hotel room.
I know, right? That was some good times. Because I think it was actually in Miami.
Bienvenido a Miami.
There you go. Everything happens in Miami.
It's true. No, she sees Miles Weber. Blanche sees the name Miles Weber. There's only one Miles Weber in the world.
Oh my gosh.
And she sees it on the register.
Oh no. Rose.
He's cheating on Rose.
Jeez. That's so sad.
Isn't it though?
We liked Miles so much.
And to which Roland says, "Why would you come to a place like this if you live in Miami to
Right. That
and
makes
Blanche
sense.
And he's like, "Well, Blanche, what did you do at a place like this?" And she just gives him a look. He's like, "Oh no, poor Rose."
Yes, because as we all know, Blanche loves the D.
Uh-huh.
She loves it so very much, and she's always doing sexy things with the men. So obviously that face she made is completely because she has done so much.
Mm-hmm. So now we're in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And Sophia's going on and on about, why can't we serve lasagna on the menu every night? Speaking of, I may get lasagna night for dinner.
That does actually sound really good.
I've got a little place near me that does a really good sausage lasagna.
Ooh, not a sausage lasagna.
A sausage lasagna, girl.
Ooh.
I like my lasagna sauce.
Is it spicy?
No, it's not spicy. I don't
Oh,
eat all
okay.
that.
All right.
I'm a lady of a certain age. I don't want to have reflux all night long.
Okay, lady of a certain age.
Did you like that?
I did.
Girl, I tried ouzo for the first time last night. It's a liquor.
That seems surprising for you.
The Greek liquor. Do you know what it tastes like?
It tastes like licorice.
Black jelly beans. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why when you just said that, I was like, that's really surprising.
I was perfect. A little Wagami black swan for you.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You're an idiot. Jesus, you're an idiot.
Well, Blanche is here and she needs some advice.
Oh, what kind of advice do you need, Blanche?
Sophia, oh my god, what's this? Sophia calls her an aging drag queen.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I thought was amazing, personally.
It was. So then Sophia goes into a story, and Blanche's like, no, I just need to get to the point of the story. Get the point. And she's like, are you sure? Yes. We'll get to the point. And the point is, and that's why I stopped making the polio vaccine from scratch.
Yes. Because that's where that joke, yeah. She's like, well, you told me to skip it. So
yeah. So Chewy's like, you need to tell Rose because someone cheated on me once, my ex-wife.
Yes.
And and so he's like, you need to tell Rose. You need to tell Rose. You need to tell Rose.
All this, it's good to get some backstory. It's good to get a little bit of fleshed out on these characters.
Isn't that right?
Because they're going to be here for a few seasons.
Few season. You should just said episodes, girl.
I mean, I'm just going with the flow. Going with the flow.
So Oliver swindles a woman.
Oh, well, that was unexpected. Not really unexpected, but kind of unexpected.
Yeah, he's like, where's the fee for the stuff in the lost and found? Well, Sophia sees it, and she's like, that's extortion, right?
What?
So you owe me $5 to not tell anybody. And he's like, well, that's blackmail. And she's like, you're right.
Oh, Sophia, you scamp.
Uh-huh. So Blanche ends up telling Rose. And when we find out Wednesday is the night that Miles plays poker, and like he's had meetings mostly at night, late at night.
Well, that's an unusual time to play poker.
Blanche's loins are telling her he's cheating.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Her loins say it's adultery.
Wait, I think we're on the wrong episode. I think this is we're supposed to be doing Where's Dorothy, not You Slay Me.
Wait, what? Loins talking You Slay Me?
No, it was about Blanche being a detective. I was trying to.
I gotcha. Yeah. That was such a jump and such a stretch.
Like her intuition.
See it there. I did not get it. I apologize to you,
okay.
the listeners.
It happens sometimes.
I know, but we're keeping this bit going on too long. Let's go. Miles is here.
Oh, hey, Miles, you're actually here.
Yeah. He said he got Rose confronts him, was like, what did you have for dinner? A tuna sandwich. And she slaps him and goes, liar. And he's like, fine, I had a cheeseburger. I just don't want to hear you complain about it.
That's, wow, Rose is really, she's kind of showing her cards a bit too early, I feel like.
So Miles is like, I've never been here before. She's confirmed. She's like, you've been here before. It's like, no, I've never been here before. And Rose goes on about, you've never loved me, and then storms off. And Roland, there's guests all around watching, and he's like, Roland steps in and says, you've seen the Golden Palace Living Theater perform Little Sheba, come back later for Little Abner. Oh, come back, Little Sheba. Sorry, whatever. Yeah.
You're so fun. You hate this episode so much.
I don't hate it. I think, okay. We will take a pause right here. Let me fold my paper so I know where I'm at.
Okay.
This is the best constructed episode of this so far.
Yes.
The 99.99% of the jokes hit here. No, okay, won't go that far. 75% of the jokes hit here.
Okay.
Which is better than the 30% we were at the previous two episodes, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
I will agree with that.
I don't hate this episode. I hate how this episode ends.
Yes.
So let's get into this a little bit more now. So Roland is like, Blanche, that was Miles?
Oh.
And Blanche is like, yeah, why? And she's like, well, that's not the Miles Weber that I was talking about, Blanche.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
But no, it has to be that Miles.
Because there's only one Miles Weber in the world, right?
We've been making very rash decisions about this. Like,
of course we have been. Because rather than Blanche go to Miles directly, she went to Rose first.
What?
Like I don't know what the proper thing to do in this situation would be. Part of me thinks it's to go to Miles or to go to Roland when Miles shows up and be like, is this the person? Is this the Miles Weber that you're thinking it right?
Or, just I'm sure somewhere in Rose's bedroom she probably has a picture of Miles.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. How does Roland not know what Miles looks like? Because I'm sure that knowing the way Rose is.
Well,
she
no,
would have
but
shown a picture.
he described Miles.
Right,
And
but I'm sure that Rose would be like, show him a picture at some point. Hey, this is my boyfriend Miles. He's going to be here someday. If you see him, send him to me.
I don't know if that would have happened.
Am I thinking too much?
You're thinking too much about that. Like, I do think that I'm sure she has a picture of him, and I just for some reason feel like surely Blanche could have gone and gotten the picture of him and just been like, "Are you sure this is him?"
So we're in the kitchen, and Rose is talking to Chewie, and she's like, "I want to have an affair with a real man." And she like starts grabbing his arm and stuff, and he's like, I've worn a woman's dress, and it was the most freeing thing I've ever done." It's like, oh. Then Roland comes in, and she's like, "I want to be with somebody dark, mysterious, forbidden." And Roland's like, "Oh, I paint my toenails."
These jokes.
I
mean, especially coming from a show who had like a pretty progressive episode back in the Golden Girls era.
Yep.
You would think like, oh, we're regressing. Okay.
Yeah. So Roland's like, by the way, Rose, has Blanche told you that wasn't Miles yet?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Roland should not have stepped his foot in this dew. Like, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
She should have waited for Blanche to do something, been a day or two, then step in. But, like, it's only been a couple hours, and they are still at work, yo.
Yes.
Like, we aren't talking days here, dear listeners. We are talking
this is over the course
2 hours.
Yeah, this is over the course of just a few hours that this episode takes place.
So Rose is leaving. And somebody complains to her about the potato, and she throws it back in the kitchen.
I did think that was a pretty.
It was a pretty good sight gag. So Blanche meets her. They're in the dining room right now, and Blanche needs to come clean. Rose says, "What do you need to come clean about? Sleeping with about Miles sleeping with pictures of Jackie Collins under his pillow? I already know about that."
This is our world, by the way. Do you realize that, like, sometimes the 80s is, I don't think about how much the 80s is our world, but some of the things that we still joke about in our 40s, I'm like, how this shouldn't have been our world. We were children.
Yes.
Like, we were children. This show is meant for adults. And we are, so many jokes and so many of the references are like, wow, we were some weird kids.
Well, Rose is like, you care more about yourself than you do us. And then she stomps away, and the dining room starts clapping. Yes. And Blanche and Roland take a bow.
It's the best recurring joke in this
episode. Is. It really, really is.
The audience is what, like, literally, like the people in the hotel are what make it work so well, because they are totally committed to this.
So now we're back in the kitchen, and Chewie is like, "Hey, Sophia told me that you extorted $5 from that person, and then she blackmailed you for it. Oliver, don't do that again. You need to be a good person." And he's like, "Well, she blackmailed me." He's like, "Well, there's only hope for some of us, right?" Like,
yeah, I mean, Sophia's an old lady. She's already her grave's dug.
And Sophia's like, "Well, if you check back up in your room, the $5 will be there." And then he's like, "Sweet," and runs up to his room. And Sophia's like, "I guess I forgot." So, Rose and Miles are having a late dinner.
Yes.
Rose planned a way to get back at Miles.
Oh, okay.
She hired an ex-Green Beret to tamper with his brakes, and she stopped him at the last minute.
I'm sorry. You were going to murder him.
To Rich Miles is like, what, the last minute? And she's like, yeah, really, Sophia seemed a little too excited to give me the guy's name. I thought all that was a great little bit right there. I thought that was super cute.
Yeah. No, I like that too. Like I said, I don't dislike this episode. It's just where it goes. It makes me upset.
Yeah. So Miles is like, forgive Blanche because I'm cheating on you with somebody named Fern.
That's not how this episode was supposed to go.
No, he fell in love with two women and he can't afford to make a choice. And Rose is like, I've been with you this long. We are this age. Leave. Like, what are you talking about? And did you know that Rose's loins can talk?
I mean, her loins were correct.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Her loins were correct. Just plain and simple. We cannot discount the detective nature of Blanche Devereaux's loins. In fact, this should have been the spinoff about Blanche Devereaux's actual detective agency.
I would have watched the hell out of that. Blanche Devereaux Detective.
It's all based on her loins.
Where she's a little slutty and like, Don Cheadle in a white suit as her sidekick the entire time.
Yes. That would have been that would have been epic. Absolutely epic.
Rose as her secretary.
I would have loved it. And in every episode, it's like the Deus Machina is like her loins.
Yeah. My loins are telling me.
Something's up. Oh, that would have been perfect.
Well, it's the next day. And Rose and Blanche make up in the lobby. Miles is gone.
Oh, it just is so upsetting to me. I cannot help it that they have this character who we loved. We as Golden Girls fans loved Miles.
Yep.
And I was like, do we have to make it his character arc in like that?
Yep. I mean, we aren't there yet, but yeah, I agree with you. I was going to cover that in the review of this, but like, yes. So Blanche is like, you can always do what I do whenever I get upset. And Rose's like, I'm not going to get naked and call the fire department. And Blanche is like, well, you pay your taxes and they're public servants.
I fucking love it so much.
And then this old man comes up to Roland and is like, this is the worst performance of Lil Abner I've ever seen. Oh, God. So now we're on to the button, and Roland and Sophia are putting on Driving Miss Daisy in front of everybody.
It's like, I mean, it's funny though, right? Because in this moment, we actually do get to see Don Cheadle almost acting.
Yeah.
Like the Don Cheadle that we know now. Like we're kind of like, oh, yeah, he actually is a really good actor.
Do 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 do.
Speaking of button.
Do 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 do. Did you like this episode, girl?
I'm going to say I'm a 50-50.
100% 50-50.
Yeah, I'm 50-50.
I am unanimous in that.
I am. I did not appreciate Miles's character arc. I didn't like what they did to the character.
Nope.
I did think it was funny, the stuff with Blanche's loins and all of that stuff. As we've been saying this whole episode, the entire bit with Oliver could have been cut. He is not a necessary character in this show.
Nope.
And it just feels like they could have just as easily used all of the Oliver time to establish a relationship with Sophia and Chewie as like little wisecracking back and forths. Yep. That would have been perfectly fine to me.
Yeah, I really hated what they did to Miles. I mean, they're just cutting off everything from the past, and I'm like, you could keep some of it.
Right.
You
I'm like,
know?
what was it? Did he have like a contract issue, or like what was it that they
Or
were just
maybe the
like,
contract was that he had to be in one more episode, and CBS was
maybe
just like fulfilling the contract.
like send him abroad, send him, like he's a professor for goodness sake.
Throw him in Empty Nest.
Yeah.
Like if he's under contract to be in one more show, dear listeners, Empty Nest came on directly after
it was a spin-off of Golden Girls.
A spin-off of Golden Girls. It came on directly after Golden Girls, and it lasted longer than Golden Girls, right?
Well, it spun off of Golden Girls, but it was so popular that it was considered like the perfect lead-in to Golden Palace.
Right.
And so they basically just flip-flopped the two shows because
Right.
because Empty Nest started to become really popular.
Yes. And it was about an aging pediatrician who had like
Miles
two
could have
crazy
totally
daughters.
Miles could have totally transitioned
like-
into that show.
Like become a friend to the doctor on that show.
Yeah. They're around the
Right.
same age.
Or if he's just under contract for one more show and wants to be out of the contract, just throw him on that show for one episode.
Yeah.
Right. That's all you got to do.
I mean, they literally could have just had him going on like a very long trip. He is a professor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
professors do that. They'll go, what do you call it? Like, they go lecture or whatever in some other place.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
they could have had a really heart-to-heart about, like, what a wonderful, empowering episode for older people to be like,
Yep.
here's this dude who's like, you think he's at like the twilight of his career, and he gets this amazing opportunity to go like lecture in like Cambridge or something like that, and he's like, I don't want to miss this, Rose, and I'll be here waiting and whatever. Something I don't know. Anything.
Or she's going to break up with him if he's leaving. He's like, I've got this. Like, it's not just lecture. They've decided to hire me to Oxford.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a dream for me, Rose. And then she spends the episode trying to figure out what she wants to do, and what she wants to do is
What's her dream?
Stay here and run this hotel because she finally found meaning or something new.
In her
and they
older
decide
years.
to amicably break up. That is a far better episode right there. Good job
imagine?
rewriting it.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
come on, people. Like, everybody doesn't. I mean, this harkens back to what we were just talking about prior to this one. Every episode doesn't have to have a villain.
I mean, it was the early 90s now, so yes, it did.
Ugh.
Maim,
Yeah.
why don't you tell our dear listeners where they may or may not be able to find you?
May or may not. What? Hold. What? No. Okay. So, yeah, that's true. That's Twitter. So, dear listeners, this is Auntie Maim, your favorite relation, and if you want to find me online, so the virtual world, you can find me on the virtual world. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at auntie.maim. That's MAIM. You can find me on the Twitters at Maim Ministry. I'm actually someone you can find in real life if you're down in South Florida and you want to visit. So I am doing improv comedy at the Villain Theater in Miami, Florida. Weird that I've been saying about people not being villains, and then that comes out. You can find out more information about the theater at villaintheater.com. I host a weekly karaoke show in Miami Beach called Amazing Colossal Karaoke every Thursday night at 10 p.m. We do a lot of singing, a lot of jokes, a lot of just having fun with the audience. And then on Tuesdays, I host Laughs at Lit in Fort Lauderdale at the bar's called Lit, L-I-T, and that's on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. It's a stand-up comedy show with myself and local comics. And yeah, my colleague is going to give you some exciting news because they have a list of things that they're doing right now that's going to take a good 30 minutes to go through. So how about it now, Mims? What are you up to?
Well, I'm the DivineMissMims, and I've just been doom scrolling about the Ukraine crisis. That's all I've been doing. That's it. You can't find me anywhere except for right here because I'm too busy looking on my phone wondering if the world's going to go up in fire. Anyway, I'm the Divine Miss Mims. You can find me at Divine Miss Mims on Twitter. You can find this podcast at Where's Dorothy on Twitter. We also, again, have two other podcasts. Search for Mims and Maim. Find them, listen to them where it's a hootenanny. We also have a Patreon. Patreon.com, Mims and Maim, where you can throw us some money. Yeah, I think I've said it. What do you think, Maim?
I think you've said stuff.
I did. Maim, you know what? Why don't you say goodnight, Maim?
Good night, Maim.
Bye, y'all.